Welcome back, everybody, to the Saints Film Room. Today, we're going to take a look at Devin Neal. And in all of my years of working in the scouting realm, running back has been that position that I've had such a weird love affair with. But at the same time, people who have followed the channel really long time know that I have really never been a guy who wants to draft them high. But man, can they really impact your team. In fact, they tend to provide a significant portion, more so than any other position, yards and touchdowns. So let's talk about Devin Neal. I really like this pick for the New Orleans Saints. We're going to be taking a look at some of his college tape, what they might have got from him, what are some of the things that translate immediately to the NFL level, and what you can look for. And again, I do want to preface this video before we get into the tape for saying this. Remember, a singular video you watch on YouTube or a podcast you listen to cannot give you a full report in terms of a scouting report. You need at least 200 snaps to build that. So don't take what I say as gospel. Yes, I built my own report, but encourage you to do your own studying as well. And with any further ado, let's go ahead and roll that beautiful bean footage. It's good to be back, everybody. Appreciate y'all. All right, so I want to start you off with a play that Kellen Moore I expect to use with the New Orleans Saints. And even though he's a West Coast-based guy, and yes, if you've looked at his Chargers, his Eagles, etc., you're going to see Neal's very West Coast-oriented, but he's the type of coordinator that I love because he builds around the player, not around the system. So in here, what we're seeing with Devin Neal, we're seeing a swing screen where we've got 3 wide receivers at the bottom of your screen, and we're going to bring him from a full open set. So we've got 5 wide here. He's lined up in the slot. We're going to swing him on down to the bottom of the screen, and we're going to then run, again, what's essentially a wide receiver screen, but we're bringing it in through the running back. So biggest thing we see here is, number one, the ability to make guys miss. That block is okay. It's a solid block. It's not the best, but to cut it upfield, we're seeing the change of direction. One thing I like about him, if you're not going to have elite speed, if you're not going to have elite traits athletically, then you need to make up for that in other ways. And great body positioning, great elusivity, as I like to say, but more importantly, that's something like change of direction. Those are the agility drills you'll see them working on in the NFL Combine. You see examples of that here. He's not going to win with blazing speed, just like Mark Ingram did him. But what you got is a guy who comes out of college ready to contribute in the running game. He's not a guy who's just going to be an outside zone runner, though. I think that he's going to be great as a zone back, but he's a pace back. He's also somebody who can come out the backfield and other plays we're going to like out here. But let's jump to those other plays real quick. How about we do that? All right, so one thing I like here, and this is very common in an air raid system, is this is going to be a pass blocking rep. Yes, I'm making you watch a pass blocking rep on a film study because these are little intangibles that you need, especially in a running back who's not first round talent, not elite speed, nobody's blazing 4'3", 225 pounds. What can the dude do every play? Not specific plays. What can he contribute? And I love this. So when I say air raid, what we have is a pretty basic slide. We're going to slide right here. Then we're going to have that big on big. So that means Devin Neal's role is most likely going to be this right here, as in he should expect this incoming guy. And the signs aren't. I mean, look, the guy's on his toes. Expect that. How do we pick this up? How do we keep our quarterback clean for the play? Well, let's watch it, and you can see for yourself. Does a great job. Fills in, gets set, sets a solid anchor. We've got a very clean pocket here. Everybody does a great job. In fact, when you're going to have success, this is exactly what you need. Look at that pocket. Don't love this wide base, but we're not talking about the quarterback right now. We're talking about the PB rep. And in terms of pass protection, number one, like I said, very common in air raid to see this. We'll see how much it gets used by Kellen Moore, because again, we haven't got to see him as a New Orleans system coach, but basic slide, how does he protect? Gets in there, meets the linebacker head on, love the head placement right in the chest, hands inside, sets an anchor, has low center of gravity, takes control, half man, big win. And these are the type of reps I want to see from a guy who's not a second round pick. And honestly, I want to see from the second round running backs. But if you want me to be confident in the selection you made, especially a day 3 type of player, these are the nitty gritty plays I need to see. Or I guess technically over there, the nitty gritty plays I need to see from him. And you do see it consistently. And again, this is a good team. This is the Colorado team. This is not a team that was slouches. I know everybody gets really into Shadur and Travis Hunter, and I'm not saying that those aren't the primary pieces of the Colorado team. What I'm saying is I'm not showing you going against Division III guys and he's picking up those linebackers. This is him going as talented players, doing a great job with good technique. My hope is we continue to see that at the NFL level, but more importantly, what I'm hope you're seeing is a guy that, while not being elite in any singular facet, is well-rounded. And I think New Orleans really needed that in this draft. They really needed to just rebuild, as we've been talking about on the Who Dat Confessional podcast, the middle class. And that's what you see a lot of here from Neal. So this one I'm actually really curious about the play call itself. Not that I'm trying to get nitpicky. I mean, these are coaches. They know what they're doing, right? But you got a stacked box here. And what you're going to be having is, instead of us running zone, we're going to have an ace block right here. So center guard. We're going to have a duo block. And then we're just going to have these man-on-man, kind of big-on-big type settings. But isn't it leaving this guy wide open? So that means that you've got to make that player miss. So when things aren't going your way, how can you react in the backfield? Quick change of direction, force the missed tackle, and then get north to south. Turning a nothing play, which should have been a negative, because everything's clustered here. The ace and the duo, well, they don't get anywhere. And as you see, the crash down block, we still got this gap filled. Love the turnout here by the tight end, by the way. Good job to go parallel with the sideline. But you still got to make this guy miss. We've got this massive hole for him thanks to the ace and the duo, but you've got a guy right in the middle of it. Can your guy make their guy miss? That's exactly what Neal does here. Now, can he do that consistently to all-pro level NFL DTs? I can't answer that question, but I can say that the recognition is important, and you always want to have the best block situation you can, and you're not always going to have that. So having the ability to make a guy miss and get immediately north and south is what I love. This is not somebody who's just trying to, hey, get left, right, get horizontal, try to make a play. No, make the guy miss, get back north, even if you only get 5 yards. That's the type of play we need. That's what we're trying to get. Very team effort, team-oriented type play. But how about we look at something that's not from Colorado? All right, so this one's against Iowa State. You're going to see another play where I really want to emphasize and showcase his patience running the ball. This is going to be another outside zone run. And with that, we're going to have to be patient as we let these blocks develop. Now, we definitely have numbers in our favor here, so Neal knows that reading in. We can see what we got down here at the line. We've only got 5 in the box. We do have linebackers creeping up, or I'm sorry, DBs creeping up here in the corners, but this is the type of box you love to see if you're a running back. This should tell you, hey, my blocks are going to be great. Just got to be patient. See that right here, patience. Let it develop, and then get busy. Run through, TD. Simple, nothing crazy, nothing super fancy, but patience matters. Let it fully develop, because if you try to creep up too early, for example, if we try to slice in through here, well, we've got a guy coming. We're probably not going to get the touchdown, though we will still get a positive play. But being able to see downfield, we've got this. Again, great turnout here. Cannot speak highly enough how well the Kansas line did in many of their games. When you're watching Neal, the line stands out, and that's something that you've got to hope that he gets at the NFL level as well. Because, like I said, this is not a guy that you look at and say, hey, he's going to make it all by himself. And there are running backs that come into the league that can do that. I don't believe he's that guy, but I do believe that he has a lot of traits to really like if you're a New Orleans offense. Again, going back to what I said earlier in the video, you're wanting a complement to AK. If you remember the first year of Alvin Kamara with Mark Ingram, Mark Ingram was the better back, but you saw that AK was the vision, right? And you could see that New Orleans saw that AK was the vision. And don't get offended. There's nothing wrong with saying that Mark Ingram, a 3-time Pro Bowler in his, deep into his veteran career, but still in his prime, was better than rookie AK. Rookie AK was flashier, but in terms of the meat and potatoes, Mark was still better. And then it didn't take long for AK to surpass him. In fact, we can argue he did by the end of the season. But what you presented with that was a 1-2 punch that provided several things. Number one, it lets you have this right here. 2 guys who performed in a particular system quite well. More importantly, it lets you have consistency among your players. Even though one might be a higher profile, you didn't exactly know what you were going to see because you could see it all from both of them. All right, so we got another one here, and while I don't know how much 12 personnel we're going to see Kellen Moore run, for those that don't know, that is 1 running back, 2 tight ends. If you ever hear something like 21, 11, 12, that's just simply the denote for that. So 1 running back, we're in the pistol formation, and then the 2, referencing the 2 tight ends who are both offset back, but still we're going to just be running outside zone left. Nothing too crazy here, but I like it because you're seeing patience and you're seeing the ability for Neal to work slow and then go. Now, again, this is pretty much a gimme. This is great blocking across the field, and I won't lie, part of this is me wanting to show great blocking, because if you have followed this channel, you know how I am when it comes to offensive linemen doing their job. But one thing that you want to look for in a running back here is pace. A lot of running backs, especially in college, have this nature of going full blast at all times, and that doesn't tend to be what's needed most of the time. In fact, if you're running a zone scheme, patience is critical, and you see that here. And this is not a stellar play that make you go, wow, this is a next level running back. But what it does show is getting skinny to the hole, trusting the blocks, and letting them develop. And you actually see a lot of that in the Colorado game, where instead of forcing the issue, He just lets it happen. And at the NFL level, running a zone system, that's one of the most important traits you can have, is simply letting the blocks develop, but then knowing when to hit the hole and knowing where it's going to open. Because remember, the entire point of a zone run is to open up 3 potential rushing lanes. And you got to know which one to hit. Are we going to hit the bend, the bang, or the bounce? And are we going to bend it back? Are we going to bounce it outside? Are we going to bang it up the middle? He chooses correctly, and this is ability to read, making this look so simple, that I really like from him. Let's look at another play. I like these plays. So again, Saints fans, what do I like here? Well, what I like is a guy that I see as being a compliment to AK. Whether he pans out like that, well, we don't know. Again, this video shows you 5 plays of just what he can do. But let me be very clear, there are flaws to his game, right? His size is definitely not prototype. He's certainly not Derrick Henry. I do think that there's some scheme limitations to him. I don't know how much I would trust him running all the time ace duo blocks, trap block concepts. And I'm not saying he can. I am saying that I prefer him more as a zone runner. I also would say that he doesn't have elite agility and speed scores. But at the same time, there are things you really like. And when you're talking about a guy coming in to complement and help relieve, but still giving you a threat, a guy who is a threat in the passing game, a guy who can come in and you know, hey, he's not just going to catch or run the ball. He can fill in the A gap and lead a great block to give our quarterback the pocket they need, whether that ends up being Shuck or Rattler or Carr. You see him doing the gritty stuff. And that's what I really, really appreciate about this game. That's what I like about most players. The guys who do the grit. It's easy to spot the stars, but can you spot the guys who are going to come in with the lunch pail and work every day? And that's exactly what you see with Devin Neal, both in his interviews and in his scouting reports from various folks. And hopefully that's what we see in the New Orleans black and gold. Let me know what you think about this video. If you haven't hit the like button already, please do subscribe to the channel. And I will continue to provide some film study for y'all so that we can go through the tape of why things are how they are, how things work, and more importantly, help make you a better, more educated fan, because you enjoy the game more when you know more. That's something that we really believe over here at Who Dat Confessional. Who Dat, God bless. Catch you on the next one. Thank you so much for viewing, and we'll see you. I don't know. We'll see when the next one is. We'll see. Let me know what you want to see. Comment section down below.